Welcome to this new video, the second part of the cultural coincidences between Mexico and Ethiopia. In the previous video, we mentioned some cultural coincidences like tortillas and Cinco de Mayo. Stay tuned until the end of this second part because the last coincidence will surprise you with an interesting fact that speaks to the ancient and advanced nature of the ancestral cultures of both countries. Get comfortable because we're starting. Spicy food. Chili is a plant belonging to the botanical family of Solanaceae, and like almost all of its edible species, it was domesticated in the Americas. Specifically, chili was domesticated in Mexico. With the expansion of humanity and the increasingly frequent contacts between Europe and the Americas after the arrival of Christopher Columbus, chili quickly spread around the world, including the Arab world, and later Asia and Africa. In both countries, chili plays a vital role as an omnipresent ingredient in food. In Mexico, we use it in sauces, moles, eat it raw, and as a seasoning in an endless variety of dishes. In Ethiopia, it is also consumed abundantly. The base stew of all Ethiopian food, called wet, is one of the dishes that uses the most chili. This stew is similar in ingredient complexity, texture, and functions to Mexican mole but differs significantly in flavors. Additionally, chili is used in powder form to season raw meat, sauces, green chilies, raw, stuffed, and in a wide variety of dishes. Chili is an essential part of the culinary foundation of both countries. It is unimaginable to talk about Ethiopian or Mexican cuisine without considering chili as a fundamental protagonist in this culinary artistic masterpiece. Tell us in the comments, what is your favorite food, whether it's Mexican or Ethiopian? Cultural diversity. Mexico and Ethiopia are very ancient nations and therefore possess significant cultural richness. Although the historical processes of both countries have been notably different, and their relationship with native cultures has also been opposed in many aspects, they both currently enjoy a cultural diversity that could be envied even by much larger nations in terms of territory, such as Canada, and even entire continents like Europe. Today, Mexico has 59 living indigenous languages and 68 ethnic groups, representing approximately 10% of the country's population. On the other hand, in Ethiopia, it can be said that 100% of the population belongs to some native ethnic group due to the absence of colonization-based mixing similar to what happened in Mexico. In Ethiopia, there are 81 living languages and 140 ethnic groups, taking into account variations within some groups. Just like in Mexico, the greatest cultural diversity is found in the southern regions, where the climate is more tropical and natural resources are abundant. These regions share an affinity for maize as the main food source, and in both countries, there are coffee-growing regions known for the colorful attire of their inhabitants. Both in Mexico and Ethiopia, there is a deep sense of mysticism that envelopes their respective southern communities. This mysticism is reflected in legends that consider them descendants of ancient gods, and in the fables and tales that keep the ancestral knowledge of our communities alive. Black pottery. Black pottery is a distinctive ceramic art known for its dark color and unique texture. It is produced using a ceramic technique that involves polishing the pieces and firing them at a slightly lower temperature than usual. Just before the clay piece completely dries, it is polished with a quartz stone or some other smooth object. After firing, the piece emerges with a glossy black finish. These pieces are baked in wood-fired kilns or even straw-fired ones. The polishing process imparts the shiny black color, while firing with organic materials gives them their dark hue. The pottery is hand-shaped into various forms such as jugs, bowls, plates, and decorative items. During the firing process, the temperature and oxygen levels are carefully controlled, which can affect the final color and appearance of the black pottery. In Mexico, black pottery is especially associated with the Oaxacan community of San Bartolo Coyotepec in the state of Oaxaca. The black pottery production technique in this region has a long tradition dating back to pre-Hispanic times. Oaxaca's black pottery is appreciated for its beauty and craftsmanship, and is sold and valued both within Mexico and internationally. In Ethiopia, black pottery is known as Tigray pottery. The Tigray region is located in northern Ethiopia. Similar to Mexico, black pottery in Tigray is produced using traditional techniques passed down through generations. Local potters create utilitarian objects such as jugs, plates, and bowls. This type of pottery is not commonly found in the world. Only a few cultures have discovered this interesting and exquisite technique that imparts a unique and magical appearance to the pieces they produce. Choosing the next and final coincidence for this video was challenging. We were torn between discussing the biological diversity that both countries have contributed to the world or the educational system. Ultimately, we opted for the latter to help change the narrative that our countries are sometimes unfairly labeled as underdeveloped. However, if you would like us to create a video exclusively about how the biodiversity wealth of both countries has shaped the world, please leave the word biodiversity in the comments. Educational system. Undoubtedly, one of the most powerful driving forces of a civilization, even more so than agriculture or mastery of fire and energy, is education. Civilizations that developed educational systems, writing systems, and methods for storing written knowledge that could endure over time were the ones that managed to survive the storms of history. In this cultural coincidence, we will discuss the educational system. Long before Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico, the Mexican Empire already had a formal schooling system for its citizens in ancient Tenochtitlan. Similarly, in Ethiopia, both the Orthodox Christian population and Muslims had an educational system that began at the age of 5. All Mexicans received education, though it depended on their social background and gender. Most young Mexican boys entered schools between the ages of 5 and 15 and graduated when they were ready to marry. Noble young men, known as Pipiltin, attended a school called Calmecac, which means house in Nahuatl. There, they received rigorous education specifically oriented towards leadership responsibilities, including warfare, priesthood, and government administration. Some of these young men became priests of the realm, while others took on roles in administration and governance. In the Calmecac, the conduct of young men was closely monitored, and efforts were made to prevent them from establishing relationships with women. This institution was directly related to sacred temples, and its members were consecrated to Quetzalcoatl. In the Calmecac, the sages of society, known as Tlamadanim, taught writing, science, art, and warfare strategies. These teachers mastered black and red ink. In the Telpak Kali, House of the Youths, located in the Kalpuli or neighborhoods, discipline was more relaxed, and education was less academic. Young men were expected to acquire Mexica values and the knowledge necessary to pursue their parents' professions. Here, Massahuels received instruction from experienced warriors, and those who excelled in bravery could rise to become captains or elite warriors, considered heroes in a strongly militarized society. The traditional education system of Ethiopia dates back to the Aksumite period in 330 AD when Christianity was first accepted in the region. Education heavily emphasized Christian dogma, ranging from basic education to higher education in monasteries. Graduating students from all monasteries earned ranks of priests, and upon reaching the final stage, the Negus, they acquired an intellectual elite known as Detera. Detiras were ordained clergymen specialized in ecclesiastical knowledge and were considered wise individuals within the ruling class of the monarchy. Some detiras were suspected to possess hidden knowledge, such as witchcraft and exorcism. Primary education was often conducted by clergy in places of worship and major monasteries located in the northern part of the country. Primary education had 5 stages, with the primary goal being mastery of the writing system in Gizi, which is the liturgical language. Outstanding students could attain the noble title of detera and typically opted for an ancient form of higher education typical of the Amhara and Tigray provinces. Education at this level had 3 branches. The first was Zemebet, School of Music, the second was Kain Bet, School of Poetry, and the third was Metzahaf Bet, School of Texts or Books. Illiteracy was not as critical an issue as in some Western civilizations of the time. Islamic education had 2 levels. The lower level, Tahai, was characterized by a stage where students identified Arabic letters and memorized texts, and the higher level, Malis, where students studied grammar, religion, politics, and civic concepts. Like the Christians, monasteries played a crucial role in the expansion of education. Under Emperor Menelik II, during the modernization process, state-funded educational institutions were established near his palace in Addis Ababa for the sons of nobility and aristocrats, as the general populace rejected such measures. Some scholars mark the beginning of modern education in Ethiopia with the establishment of the Menelik II Primary and Secondary School in 1908, which bears some similarities to the educational reforms in Mexico in the early 20th century under José Vasconcelos. This has been the second part of the cultural coincidences between these 2 giants from different continents. These are just a few of many more. It's fascinating to discover how, despite the distance, cultures can share so many similarities, and also how their differences can mutually enrich them, contributing to their ongoing cultural and historical development. However, that will be the topic of future videos. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. In the next video, we will surprise you with one of Ethiopia's most astonishing religious experiences, the celebration of the cross. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch it. Leave us a thumbs up, your comment, and share this video. As always, it's an honor, a pleasure, and a joy to share with you each week. Thank you very much.